Well, I was just looking at our intro. It's pretty fancy.
It is.
It was Mr. Cleary's handiwork with the guidance of Justin. And we're here in Las Vegas again. Hot, sunny Las Vegas.
It's not hot yet.
I saw your little thing on Facebook, 102 degrees. What was that, about 9 o'clock at night? That was funny.
Yeah, burr.
This is podcast number 6, which means I've gotten through 5 of these with you, and I'm surprised we both survived. And this is May 29th.
And this is the special edition.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I was told
A bonus.
I was told that I was being too mean to Mark on these podcasts.
Yeah.
So for the next 60 minutes, there will be nothing but glowing compliments of my friend, Mark Griffin.
Man, he's not going to say anything. He's going to sit there like a...
All right, so I'm going to go step off to the side.
Yeah. If you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all. It hasn't been a real crazy week or two. A lot of buzz on the Moscone Cup because Mark Wilson did some pretty cool things going down to San Diego. I almost went down there because I know Willie Bettmore, who's Don Wardell, Dr. Don Wardell. And I haven't seen him for a couple of years. But some of the stuff they're doing doesn't make sense to me, but the fact that he's doing and the complexities and the totality of everything he's doing, and I watched the little interview that was on, Mark is putting some serious effort in this, and he's the right guy. That's all. He is the right guy for the job. And it's going to be really interesting. I mean, my prediction is...
Yep. Drum roll.
Yeah. 11-7.
You know what?
U.S. The U.S. will win 11-7. No, I'm kidding. No,
hey, I hope you're right. Given what happened last year, I think 11-7
is a win.
Would be
huge.
Would be a good win
because
shows progress.
It shows progress, and you have to understand most of these guys have never been. They haven't been in that arena before, and that's a spooky place. You know, so.
Yep.
And 11-7, 11-8, either way, it's a Knicks Knocks, you know. But
be a very good match.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm not going to be going. It's over in across the pond. It's in Blackpool. Yeah, but I never come back. Give me a one-way ticket. A lot of buzz on Mike DeShane. He's tearing up that East Coast. He's on fire.
Yeah, he recently won the Ginky Memorial.
For the second time in a row.
Was it in a row? No, not in a row.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Mike
sure.
Davis won last year, I think. I might be wrong on that. But
you say that again?
Mike Davis.
You might be wrong.
Mike Davis beat Dennis Hatch in one of them, and it was right before he supposedly retired. So.
Again.
But 11-10 over Mika Immonen.
Yeah.
Fantastic match.
Yeah.
Now, if Mika had gotten to, I like this format they had. If Mika had gotten to 11 first, it would have been a race to 13.
I'm going to disagree with. I think that was I think Johnny T posted something on there, and I think it was a misunderstanding because I don't see how that would work. If you're playing a race to 11, you're playing a race to 11.
Well, yeah,
because I know
that's what you see.
Yeah,
but in that format,
Mika was in the hot seat, I guess.
No, Mike DeShane
was
in the hot seat.
And they decided to play one race rather than two. Or I didn't follow it all. I don't have time to really follow all that stuff. But it's just, all I know is he won. And his posts have been very respectful. He gave kudos to Mika and his level of play, and he was very fortunate to win. And he made a great post on AZ Billiards about the Moscone buzz because a lot of people feel he should have been on the Moscone Cup. We're not here. It's not our choice. It's Mark Wilson's. I do think he is the second ranked player, rotational player in the U.S. and Shane's number 1. It would be interesting because Mike DeShane. He could probably get a lot of action with the Johnny Archers and Dennis Hatches and all those guys, because, but he's in tournament play. He is a monster.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And
that's right. And you beat him once, didn't you?
I wasn't going to say anything, but you just said that
I'm sitting with a star.
I beat the second best rotation player in the country in 15-ball rotation.
You are my idol.
And as long as I
really am a smart guy to hire somebody of your skills and talents. And your humbleness.
Thank you, Mark. I'm smart for working for such a great guy. And as long as I never play him again,
you're undefeated.
I'm golden.
You're golden.
I'm golden.
Yeah.
Mike, if you're watching,
screw you.
Thanks for letting me get by you that time. I appreciate it.
Yeah. No, but Mike's on fire, and
I can't wait to see what he brings to the table for
our event.
Invitation.
I was there in. Outside of Dallas when he won that first event for Badi, and he was a dark horse.
That's the Ultimate 10 Ball?
Yeah, the Ultimate 10 Ball. I think he beat Jeremy Jones in the finals.
I think you're right.
And surprised a lot of people. And that was, man, he just took off on running shoes. Then he played in our event, the U.S. Open 10 Ball, and I believe it was a race to 9, and I think Johnny Archer broke, didn't make a ball. They pushed back and forth. Johnny didn't make a ball, and Duchesne ran the set. Yeah. He's like 8 3/4 racks.
He's explosive. And,
he's got a gear.
Great player, yeah. And I'm glad to see some of those posts.
He's really, he's calming down. He was a little bit of a dip there for a while. But he's 26 now, so he's 23 a couple of years ago, and he's a little stickler for some of the rules. But hey, that's part of the process. So anyhow, and he did real well in that event in Canada too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, he won the 9-ball division of that event. Right. I can't pronounce the event, but pretty large event in Canada. He snapped off the 9-ball. Yeah. Okay. So Mike Duchesne is on fire.
Yeah.
They call him the Fireball.
That's cool.
So, all right, on to some CSI stuff.
Stuff.
Just want to let everybody know that we have slowly been doing some website improvements. The CSI website has been updated with some more information. Upcoming event info is on the home page. Justin, if you could be so kind. This is actually the Facebook page. There is the home page of playcsipool.com. If you notice right there at the top is something I want to bring everyone's attention to. That is our group reservation link to the Rio for the upcoming BCA Pool League National Championships.
And yeah, touch on that because they need to use the group code. See, I tell you to touch on it, then I'm going to handle it for you. Just sit down and shut up, son.
Like a good boss.
Because you use our code, and we're 79 and 129. But if you do it through any other process, you get stuck with the resort fees and a bunch of other stuff, and they just nail you. It's $18 a night. And it comes out to about an average of $91 if you really want to average it out. But,
and if you click on the link, this is what you'll see. This is our group reservation page. And like I said, and like Mark said, you'll get a better rate, you'll get a group discount rate, but most importantly, you're going to avoid all resort fees, which are pretty common here in Las Vegas.
Well, and they're also hidden. You don't see them until you're leaving. It's just the way they do things, nothing underhanded in Vegas. No, it's a process. I don't know. 2 years ago, the MGM, the Caesars properties were no resort fees. And they finally had to get in the line with everybody else.
Got to go with the flow.
Yeah. So
if we go back to the homepage, playcsipool.com, so that's the group reservation link at the top, that large block with the Rio. Under that, you're going to see some more stuff that we've put up.
And those, I tell you, JP did an awesome job with these posters and stuff.
Yep, most of these were done by JP, some were done by Justin. But if you look on the left, we have the 3 challenge matches that we've announced that will be held during the BCA Pool League National Championships. The first is July 17th, the next is July 21st, and the last one will be July 22nd. If you look on the right, you'll see top right, you'll see the CSI Invitationals link. Just below that, a link where you can buy VIP seats to all those great matchups.
And there's only 40 of those available, and you own the seat.
Yep.
It's your seat.
So if you click on that link to the CSI Invitationals, that's the VIP seat where you can purchase VIP seats. But if you go back and click on the Invitationals block, it gives you more information about the upcoming invitationals.
Well, looks like you actually know what you're doing.
Just a little. So we have 2 separate invitational events, the CSI Invitational 10 Ball on the left, CSI Invitational 8 Ball on the right. And those blue boxes where it says Group A, Group B, Group C, and Group D, those are the groups that will be competing amongst each other in the round-robin format. Because
there are groups of 4 round-robin, 1 from each continental division, or however you want to call it.
And if you want to dwell down further, you can click on Meet the Players, which is right up there at the top. And it shows you all of the players that are in our invitationals, all 16 players. And again, these were all done by JP Parmentier.
Parmentier.
I guess that's how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Sounds good anyway.
You can pronounce it any way you want.
Any way
I
you
give you
want.
permission.
He did a fantastic job. Great to work with.
I love, look like one guy's eyes. I love the picture of Efren when it's with the Filipino.
I like that one.
Yeah, but the picture of he's got his fist pumped. And,
Yep.
you know.
So check out the website. We're steadily updating things, making improvements. And
these challenge matches are some of these have never happened. I mean, the first one is Shane versus Copigny, which, I mean, there's a lot of people think that Copigny's going to win. I just going to have to, I have to see it to believe it. But I know he's a very capable player, and I know he has an awesome break. But Shane still has the familiarity with the diamond tables.
Hey, well, let me tell you something. If I can beat Mike Duchesne in 15-ball rotation,
hell,
anything can happen.
You know?
Anything.
Yeah. The second one is Efren and Boosty versus Corey Duell and Mike Duchesne.
That's going to be a cool
Scotch
match.
Doubles 8-ball partners, race to 21.
Mic'd up.
Yeah, that's going to be so cool. And then the third one is Orkullo and Chang or Ching.
Chang.
There's two of them that I can't keep them straight.
The buzz on AZ, people are predicting Chang to win that match.
Yeah. Well, he won the White Diamonds.
No, that was Ching. You're getting them mixed up.
They all look alike.
See?
Oh, did I say that?
And I still have to say something nice.
Their names sound alike. They're both monsters, you know, and so it's going to be fun. And there are matches that and these. Justin will be heading up the team for doing some live streaming pay-per-view. If you stay in the hotel, it's all free, with constant loops and everything. And it's so in your whole showing in your hotel room and everything. If you're staying elsewhere or you're at home, it'll be pay-per-view, and you guys will be coming up with the pricing here fairly soon.
Yep.
So
and just
this is going to be exciting.
Touch on that third challenge match a little bit more because we did just announce it, I believe, last week.
Yep.
It will be
sponsored by Tiger.
Sponsored by Tiger. It will be the Tiger Challenge.
And Tiger is Dennis Orkullo's sponsor, so that's a nice touch.
Be July 22nd, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Make sure my math is right. Dennis
Race to 21.
Race to 21 9-ball. Winner breaks.
That could be a 2-hour match.
Dennis Orkullo versus Jung Lin Chang.
Yeah.
And if you get your VIP seats, you'll be front and center for that match as well.
Yeah.
As all of the other matches.
And the reason the 10 balls prior to the 8 balls, as far as the invitational, is because the team 8-ball is at the end of the tournament. We're using this as an enhancement to tie the professionals and the amateurs together, so they both gain something out of it. And I mean, we're basically an amateur group. We do these pro things because we like them, and it's good for the sport. It introduces everybody to everything, and but they'll get to see how 8 balls played. Mm-hmm. Although it's on a big table and the amateurs are playing on a small table, but. I expect some of these guys to, time willing, they'll be getting involved in a few things on the small tables. We have the 9-ball challenge, 10-ball challenge, and the 8-ball Grand Masters, but it conflicts with a lot of the.
Yeah, I imagine some of those guys will play in the 9-ball challenge, but we have a pro-am in between the two invitationals,
and the details.
Everybody gives an hour of free lessons every day.
Yeah, that's the big one. We have 16 top players, and every one of them has to give an hour lesson each day. So. And we have 2 tables. They're right there in front and center, right up there in the front. And so really that's 16 hours a day times 9 days, basically 140 some odd hours of lessons from the world's best players. And you're not going to get one-on-one, obviously. There might be 500 people watching it, but you're going to learn something. Yep. Well, everybody will. You will. You don't need to learn anything. I mean, you're already,
Mark, I learn things from you every day.
I doubt that very seriously.
It's the nicest thing I could think of.
You got to quit lying. People will tell your hair's growing. Oh, your nose is growing. Holy mackerel, Pinocchio.
Talk about my hair. I'm a little sensitive about that.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'd like to bring everybody's attention to the CSI Facebook page as well. If we could go to that, Justin.
He, like me, fell asleep.
He fell asleep too. You back there, Justin?
Look on the screen.
I am.
Screen, not seeing anything on the screen. The
Facebook page.
We've done some updates to the CSI Facebook page as well. There we go. So if you go to Facebook, CueSports International, click like, engage with us a little bit, make some comments on some things, and that way you'll get all of our information on your news feed. But importantly, if you look just below that banner, you can go to the events section. I believe you have to click where it says more, click events, Now, these are some of the events that we've set up within our Facebook page. We've got
Oh, see, I don't even hardly. I can hardly use Facebook too.
BCA Pool League and USA Pool League National Championships. We got events set up for the challenge matches, and we've got an event set up for the invitationals.
Yeah.
If you click join, then anything that's posted on those particular event pages, you'll get notified of.
Excellent.
So it's a great way to stay in touch. Plus, it goes to your Facebook calendar, which in a lot of cases is tied to your cell phone. So you'll get notifications that this event is up and coming, which is good if you're going to watch a stream.
Yeah, and we do events other than just our nationals. Obviously, our focus is on the nationals, which is basically July 17th through 27th. But 6 weeks after that, we do the Southwest Regional in Phoenix at Fort McDowell.
Yep.
And that's always a good little event. It's 40 tables, 300 people, but just letting all the guys in Arizona and Albuquerque and some of the California people that we're supposed to sign the contract tomorrow. And so it's on schedule, just like always. It starts on probably on that Friday. And I might even start Thursday night. I don't think we laid the schedule out.
You're going to keep me around for that one?
Well, you're going to have to go down. That's how I get rid of you. You're going to have to show you how to run a tournament. But no, it's just, so that one's coming up. And then the bar table, we have the dates on it. And but I don't have them handy in front of me because it's back in Reno. And the West Coast Swing is going to be interesting because you got Jay Helfert's doing his invitational. And then you, up in Sacramento, is the Chuck Markoulis. And then is our U.S. bar table. We haven't figured out where the Swanee's going because our dates got moved, so everything had to move up like a week or 10 days. The Swanee may be after the bar table, or it may be in January. I don't know. We just have to figure that out.
See, folks, this is the typical, I got a reel mark back in.
Well, then it's just important
we got our biggest show in the world coming up, and he's talking about 2015.
It's all right.
You're a visionary, aren't you?
Yeah, right. I mean, it's just, we're not going to dwell on it, but at least you know more things are happening.
Yep, absolutely. We're moving forward.
Yep, I'm happy with what we're doing. Getting cleaned up, a little more sanitary on our visuals. And
last computer thing I want to dwell on is the CSI YouTube channel. This was, what, Justin, 2-3 months old now? We have all of our U.S. Bar Table Championship matches uploaded, and we're releasing it today. We did some instructional content with Tom Rossman.
Oh, right, we sure did.
And we have all of those videos and playlists up on our YouTube channel. It's everything from fundamentals to mental tips to kicking and banking to trick shots.
The guy he's been doing it for a lot of time.
So I believe we have well over 30 clips on there. Yeah. Feel free to go on and watch. There's absolutely no charge. It's just something we like to do for all of our members and fans. But make sure you click subscribe on the YouTube channel. That way when we upload new free content, you'll get updated on it.
Now, we also, there's still some stuff going to be going up there, like the U.S. Open, Open 10 balls and
some
Open
of the
1
older,
pockets and
some
stuff.
of the older content will get uploaded eventually.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
okay.
So far, we've been focused on the most recent content,
which is the bar tables.
Getting the Tom Rossman things up there, and it's a great channel.
Okay.
And what are we up to, Justin? 1,600 subscribers or so?
Yep.
Something like that. So
1643 right now.
1643.
So that's some of the CSI.
And there's 36 Tom Rossman videos.
36 Tom Rossmans.
And
they're all in like 2 to 5 minutes. They're
yep.
short. You don't have to.
It's pretty good stuff though. I went through and watched every one of them, and pretty neat. And even some trick shot clips on there.
They're broken down into playlists. For some reason, they're not showing up. We just made these public. For some reason, the playlists aren't showing up yet. I would think they'll be up by tomorrow. But there's 36 videos broken down into several categories, and then you can just click on the playlist tab, and you'll be able to run through them all.
Good.
And I will say, it's not easy to impress Justin. But,
really?
But Tom Rossman on camera impressed Justin.
Yeah, he said it was just like, boom, and it's just like, most of them were one take.
Yeah, I came in at the end of the first day, and Justin says, man, this guy's
like a little dynamo.
He said, we had one retake, and it was my fault.
Yeah, guys, he's a pro. He's the best guy I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
Yep. That's great.
That's good. Okay, now we should talk about our nationals, right? Like late fees and stuff like that.
Go for it, boss.
Well, I can read just like you can read. This is the 38th annual, isn't it?
Yes.
38. That's a long time. You know, the U.S. Open, Barry Berman's is only 1 year older than us.
By the way, I've never liked that convention. I like just putting the year in front of there.
The convention.
Yeah, 38th annual, 39th annual.
Okay.
2014
Okay.
BCA Pool League National.
I like the
Hey, you
fact
can't go wrong.
I like the fact that some people reason it's been going on 38 years. It gives
Mm-hmm.
some substance to what you're doing. Our late fees start June 3rd.
Yeah, we can't stress that enough. We're trying to save
You know,
everybody
they have
some
to be
money.
postmarked June 3rd. We don't have to get them. They have to be postmarked or fax received. You know,
June 2nd. June 3rd is when the late fees begin.
oh, well, there you go. See, then okay, I won't say a thing.
You didn't read. You just ad-libbed. That's
It
the
says
problem.
late fees begin
on
June
June
3rd.
3rd.
Okay, you're right. We still have some vendor spots. I'm positioning all the ones that are signed up. There's still a lot of the same usual suspects. I don't really know anybody that's not coming that was there last year. I haven't gotten that far through it. I'm sure there's a couple. Oh, I know of one guy, yeah.
If
But,
anybody out there has anything to sell, and you want a captive audience for 10 days, nothing but
Yeah.
thousands of pool
Yep.
players, it's a great opportunity to get a booth.
It's always a good venue. This year we're putting, and we've been doing this for years, but this year all the vendors are in the pavilion, which is the big room where the tournament director is and where the professional events are. Last year we had 12 or 14 in the side room, which is the Brasilia. But since we eliminated 16 of the 9-footer tables, because we're not doing the BEF and the big 96-man pro tournaments, it created a lot more space. So we did some rearranging, and the pavilion is where all the action will be. As far as it's a 24-hour room, never closes. All the exhibitors are there, Q repair guys, everything. So,
Yep. So if you
it's,
have something
and there's
to
room
sell,
for a few more. I can't tell you how many, but it's one of those snooze you lose.
Yep.
It will fill up. Everybody, there's always the few people coming in at the end. Obviously, you lose your choices of where you want to be.
if you want a booth, just email me, ozzy@playcsipool.com. We'll get you hooked up.
Yep. And this year we're having about between 20 and 32 more tables. So that's going to allow us to have a lot more mini tournaments and a lot more practice tables. The emphasis is on practice tables because we got screwed up last year, and I know some people didn't like it, but we did lose power, and it really messed us up. It took them 4 days to get
I
caught
still
up.
can't get over that losing power at the Rio.
Well, yeah. It's a 74-mile-an-hour tornado or hurricane or something. We talked about that. It was throwing
We had one
couches out.
today, by the way.
Wasn't that a trip?
It was a tropical storm.
Is that what it
Right.
was? Yeah, tropical storm. Yeah, yeah. We had a little.
So we were in the office today, and it was like a dust tornado came
Yeah,
through.
the
or
tree
something.
was trying to whirl around. It was everywhere. But try to avoid the late fees. It's nonsense to pay them. I mean, we'll take it, believe me. But it's just try to avoid it.
Yeah, so kind of getting back on target. So our events, you need to sign up by June 2nd in order to avoid the late fees. After that, we have no choice but to put the
Yeah.
late fees on, or else everybody would wait until the
Yeah.
last day.
Well, everything we do, I mean, like when we have professional tournaments and the players' names are listed, they're confirmed players. It's not like we think they might show up. They're confirmed. Like when we even do the Swanee or any of these little, they're paid players or the name doesn't go down. And we're, I think, the only crew that really does that, and I think it's the proper way of doing it. So when we say that your late fees start June 3rd, they start June 3rd. You just got to believe what we say because we don't have time to keep dancing with everybody.
Yep.
You know, it's,
And
we're
if
trying
you're-
to be fair. But
And if you're not
but
in a
firm.
BCA pool league, you can still come play in the events. And I've hammered on this for the last couple podcasts, but I just want to get the point across. You don't have to be a league player to come out and participate in some of these events. You can purchase a player membership for just $25, and there are lots of singles, doubles events you can play in, all the minis that
all the
Mark
minis.
talked about.
And just practice. For $25, you can literally play, 9 days, 24 hours? That's a lot of hours of pool.
Might be a little action there too. Huh?
There's going to be some action.
Yep.
There'll be a lot of action.
So, and again, I'll mention this one more time before the big July show. For all those players that previously came out for the U.S. Open events that we're not having this year, there are still events for you to play in. Granted, they are on 7-foot tables, but hey, that's pool too. But July 16th and 17th is the 9-ball challenge. That's open to anybody. July 18th and 19th is the 10-ball challenge. And July 20th through the 22nd is the Grandmaster 8-ball. So there are 3 events, 3 open events that you can play.
Anybody in the world can play it.
Back to
Nobody's
back.
barred. It's scratched. No handicap. Just come and shoot your best.
Yep. And if you sign up for all 3 of those at once by using the triple play option, which you see there at the top, you get a $55 discount on your entry fees.
Yep. So,
It's a pretty good deal.
cool. And then it also gives, Book your room using code SRQ, the number 4. But the
Now,
best thing is still go through the link.
The best way is the reservation link that we showed you earlier. But if you're one of those folks that don't want to pay online, you can call the Rio, but you need to use this code SRQ4, SRCUE4.
There it is. Right. Justin's on top of it.
Justin is the man.
Yeah.
So that's it for tournament stuff.
Yeah.
Again, late fees start June 3rd. So if you want to play in any of these events, get your entry in before June 3rd so you don't have to pay late fees. We don't want the late fees. We want you to sign up early.
If you have any questions, call us, preferably before 5 o'clock, because sometimes I work late and the phone's ringing at 9 o'clock at night.
You don't answer?
Actually, I do. But usually I try to remember to push the intercom thing. But I know people, they don't know what time we close, but that's when we close.
Well, so, that's Pacific time, too.
But anytime you have questions, some of the things we're going to be discussing, always gets to be controversy because people on the AZ forums and everything don't know the facts. They just start saying things. And really, if you have a question, email us or call us.
Well, and I will say recently, and we're going to talk, this is a good segue into the next topic. We recently have instituted a change to our sanctioning policy, which we'll discuss for a second. But I will say, along what you were saying, Mark, about people stating things that they don't have all the information. There was a post on this thread, the podcast thread, from a guy that was questioning this policy. But he did it in such a respectful way.
It was a question and not a problem.
He was asking questions, and he even gave a little bit of his perspective, but it wasn't any kind of accusation or anything like that. It was very respectful, and I can't tell you how much I appreciated that, and I couldn't wait to respond to that gentleman.
Yeah. Because
those are the good kind. I don't mind that at all.
We do get some emails where these guys, I mean, we had one guy call us a cheat and a liar, and come on, man. Yeah, we try to explain it, and he says, well, I already gave you 2 solutions, and we said, but your solutions are worse than the problem we have now. And you can't discuss this type of thing by a couple of emails. If you really want to know what's going on, pick up the phone. Yeah.
So let's talk about the policy change so people know what we're talking about. Previously, prior to 2009, just to do a little bit of history, and you can jump in.
Well, when we bought the leagues in 2004, and it was always a one.
The policy was that to sanction your league, every player in your league had to pay a $10 sanctioning fee.
Correct.
So the national office, which at the time was the Billiard Congress of America, starting in 2004, it was Mark Griffin, CueSports International. So that policy up to 2009 remained $10 per player per league.
Per league.
In 2009, costs go up. They go up for everybody. In 2009, it was clear that the sanctioning fee had to go up to cover the cost of services that the league provided. So it went to $15. But Mark, and I think this was extremely gracious, I've been beating on you for this policy ever since.
Well, there's a long story on this, but we won't go too far in that. But
so what was decided was it went from $10 to $15, but if you played in more than one league, you only had to pay one time.
Yeah.
So I think that was a very noble effort.
It was an attempt. We talked with our software people and our staff people, and they said, "Oh no, we can track it. We can track it."
Well, and I don't think anybody really had a firm handle on what the percentages of people were.
There's tricks there you can study it and you don't see them until they hit you over the head.
Yep.
It is impossible to do it proper.
Well, and let me
timeline thing. So,
let me explain 2 aspects of that policy, and I saw this fairly quickly when I started learning how things were structured. First of which is the timing of receiving sanctions. So it's important to understand that CueSports International, i.e. the BCA Pool League, we sanction leagues. We offer support to leagues. So if you're a league operator and you want to sanction your 100-player league, you submit the proper sanctioning paperwork along with the $15 per player, and you submit that to us. We then take that paperwork, we review it for accuracy. If there's any problems with it, we have to communicate with the league operator and get it all squared away, and then we enter all of that data into our database in the proper format, and then we send the league posters and patches and pins and rule books.
And a membership card in each person's name.
Membership card for every player. And then we do have a fully staffed office that is there to support you.
Yeah.
Monday through Friday,
Right.
9 to 5 Pacific
We write
time.
rule books, we print rule books, we do, it's a lot. It's more than just a...
If
Yeah.
just a regular player has a question about a rule that happened Thursday night, they can call the office and speak to the head of our rules program, Bill Stock, and get that question answered. I mean, it's full-time support.
Yeah.
It's not we don't push you off to an email or call you back in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We're there for you. So we support these leagues. Well, what happens is with the policy that
We're one
Mark
second. Yeah. No,
instituted in 2009, a couple things happen. The first thing is the timing. So you might be John Doe playing out in
League A,
Virginia,
yeah,
since I'm so
Virginia,
fond of
okay,
Virginia.
Yeah, okay.
And you play on a Monday night league and you pay your $15 to your league operator. Well, you also play in Mary's league on Wednesday night. So 2 days later, you show up for the first night of Mary's league, and Mary comes to collect your sanction fee, and you say, well, I've already paid John on Monday. And she says, oh, okay. Well, then she fills out her sanctioning paperwork, and because Mary is very, very on the spot,
Yeah,
she
sends
sends
it
hers
in.
in right away. So
Yeah.
we get Mary's paperwork, and we're looking, and we're saying, Mark Griffin has already paid in league whatever. And then we go look at league whatever, and we
it's
have
not
nothing.
there.
We don't have anything.
Yeah,
So now we get into, well, we got to call Mary, and then we got to call John. And how come you? Well, John says, well, I'm waiting until week 3 to submit all mine, and it's an absolute nightmare that costs a lot of time and a lot of money.
It's impossible. There's only one way it could ever work, and that's if we forced everybody to sign up online directly with us.
Won't work.
And that won't work because, first of all, the league operators say, wait a minute, those are my players.
Well,
and there's a lot of questions to be answered, and this is that. And for the last 30 years, people have gone to the league operator and paid. So even if you told everybody you have to do it online, they're still going to go to the league operator. And so it's still going to be, it's just not worth, how much is $5? I mean,
well,
it's like,
so that's one part of the problem. And a lot of people have emailed us and said, well, you need a better database.
Oh, yeah, it's a simple computer system.
The database is not the issue. It's the inherent nature that we sanction leagues, and league operators are free to run their leagues, for the most part, within guidelines, however they see fit. They can sanction with us whenever they want. They can sanction in the fall, they can sanction in the spring. It doesn't really matter. We are just the glue that binds all these independent leagues together.
Correct.
Now, the second part of the problem, which I think is more significant, is all of the things, all the benefits you get with sanctioning with the BCA Pool League are based on the size of your league. So if you have 100 players, the support that we offer is based on 100. You get a certain number of patches and pins, posters. We get a certain number of phone calls from your league because it may be bigger than a 30-player league, so there's more support there. The rule books, all these things that we do, our league management software that we've invested heavily in, people use that we have to subsidize and pay for. So the services we provide are based on the size of your league, not the number of new players you have. Your 100-player league might have 50 brand new BCA Pool League members and 50 members that sanction somewhere else on Monday night. Our cost is based on 100, not 50. So it's a losing proposition.
It was not sustainable. And I'm pretty blunt. We're the only league that tried it. We tried it for 5 years, and guess what? We can't do it. Bingo. So just accept the fact that we're not stupid, that our computer technicians and programmers are not stupid. I'm just telling you, it can't be done. And I just really get PO'd at people that sit home somewhere and they say, well, why can't you do it? Or our league does it, and really their league doesn't do it. I mean, this is what you're going to go into next, I'm sure, is when there's several leagues that they play on 3 nights. Don't have 3 different leagues. Have one league with 3 different divisions.
Yeah.
And which is helping us because it's consolidating. It's giving us less leagues, but some of them are bigger, which reduces our costs, lets us be more efficient.
Well, it's not just helping us either. So let me talk through this. So that's the the real two big basic reasons for the policy change.
Yeah.
So let's say you have a large league, and this happened in New York, great example. There was a league operator in New York that was running 3 separate leagues out of the same pool room on different nights. And that person was concerned that, hey, my player, I have a lot of players that play all three, and now, you know, they might cut back to 1 or 2, and then I'm going to lose a league, and which is going to affect their bottom line. So very concerned. And what we said was, why don't you just make it 1 league with 3 divisions? Yeah. Sanction the whole thing
it's
at once.
easier on them. I don't know what they, you know.
Folks, I don't know how else to tell everybody this. We don't want your second or third sanction fee if you can just do it once. This is not a revenue grab.
We just can't track it. We can't do it equitably and fairly. It's just, it's impossible. We spend, I mean, the minute we have to research person, we can just forget that $15 we got from them.
Well, and
it's gone.
If you have one league with multiple divisions, the guy or girl pays their sanction fee one time. They still get to play 3 nights. I don't care if they play 8 nights a week. Yeah. And I know there's not 8 days in a week.
Beatles thought there were.
It doesn't matter to us.
I remember when that song came out.
How many nights you play. We're not after your sanction fee for all 8 nights. That's not what it's about. No. But that league can sanction one time. It's easier on the league operator. It's easier for us. We sanction the whole league all at once. You get 1 player membership card, your patches, your pins, your handbook, whatever the case may be, and it's done. You can play every night if you want to.
Yeah.
But if you then decide that I'm going to play in this league and play in 3 divisions, and I'm such a pool nut, I want to play in this other person's league across town, then you're going to have to pay another sanction fee.
Because we still have to handle you. I mean, we're touching you, and you know, it's just the way it works. And I just treat us with a little respect, because we really try to do things as right as we can, and that's the only thing really jacks me, is a little respect. Just be decent about it.
You can't get any respect, can you, Mark?
Well, you beg people to pick up the phone and call us, but no, they'd rather write what they think is right, and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And then I have to get on there and tear their head off, which I have done a couple of times, and I'm not going to apologize for it, because in all honesty, if you're want to spew the non-facts, like you know what you're talking about, and I can show that you don't, then you walked into it, not me.
Well, so hopefully that explains the rationale behind the policy change, how it's really not a bad thing, and what we would like to see is some of these leagues that are running multiple leagues out of the same room just
consolidate a little bit, work together a little bit.
Make it one league. We'll definitely work with you. I do want to say one more thing about league support, because several people have made the comment, you know, what kind of support do you guys really provide? And I would say this. I would refer you to the multiple league operators that we have talked to over the last few weeks that have conflicts with one another. So you may have league operators in the same city, and they're doing some some unscrupulous things to undermine each other's league.
Competition.
When that happens, guess what? If you're both sanctioned with the BCA Pool League, you have somebody to call and help you resolve those types of issues. Yep. So that's just one example of the many, many things that we can do. And that's one of the big reasons we're here, is to be the glue that binds all these independent leagues together, and to sort of keep the peace and have it so everybody can coexist and be successful.
Plus, we have and then we'll get off of this stuff in a minute. Our viewpoint is we take a global look at pool. We're not just an amateur league. We get involved with the junior programs. We get involved with the trick shot people. We're doing the world's trick shot tournament again. We get heavily involved with the professionals. We do events you don't even have to be a member with. The Swanee and the U.S. Bar Table Championship. They have, at this point, they're not a BCA or CSI membership event. We do a lot of things for pool. It's all, you know, it's just, we're a conglomerate, if you want to look at it that way. And those things take time, money, and energy, and we have a way broader viewpoint than any other organization out there. And again, when we went from $10 to $15 in '09, and our costs have gone up that much, believe me. Our insurance doubled one year, just for an example. Just don't ask me why. The carrier we had just decided he wasn't going to write anymore in Vegas, and boom, away we go. Everything goes up. So enough of that. Let's go to some of our
All right, so that's all of the meat and potatoes, as us Southern boys would say.
Well,
Now we're going to take questions that we got primarily from AZ Billiards. You want to start or me?
Well, I'll just start a little bit. This is the first one from Iowa 7467. I would like to hear that all the players are confirmed. Before we mention them, they were confirmed. If you see an entry in our tournament, they're paid for. They're confirmed. Not saying they couldn't bail if had a death in the family or who knows what, but we don't use names as a lost leader or what do you want to call it, to entice excitement. If a name is on anything we do, they have confirmed and paid. And that's two different things, but one thing is definitely, if you're not paid, you're not confirmed.
Correct.
Will the single eliminations be seeded based on the round robin results? I'm going to leave that one up to you. And further discussion on the format. Those are both related questions.
No, they will not.
Seedings,
No, they will not. So the draw for who would be in the groups was totally random, with the stipulation that you can't have two people from the same region in the same group. So every group, there's four. They want some discussion on the format. So let's talk about this again. 16 players, all from 4 regions: North America, Europe, the Philippines, and Asia. Which arguably is Taiwan. 4 groups of 4 will compete, round robin format. Each group is going to be made up of 1 player from each region. The draw for which players ended up in which group was totally random. And that was for the 10-ball invitational. For the 8-ball invitational, it was still totally random, with the exception that you couldn't have 2 players in the same group again.
Right. So there was no.
Okay, so that's the draw. Now, the top player from each group will advance to a single elimination bracket. That will be determined first by win-loss record. If there's a tie there, it will be determined by the head-to-head matchup that occurred. And if possible, ran that through my mind, it would go to rack differential.
Yeah.
So the top player from every group will advance to the single elimination bracket, and that will not be seeded based on the results of the round robin. And Justin put up the groups right here, Group A, B, C, and D, and I'm guessing this is for the 8-ball.
Yep.
Yeah. The big logo in the middle.
You're guessing. That's a good guess. 8-ball.
This is the 8-ball. This is the second event. The groups for the 10-ball will be a little different. There it is.
Yeah.
Justin's all over it. The thing I'm interested in, if you look at Group A, we got Shane Van Boning and
so there's
which is one of the challenge matches.
But the challenge match is right before this. The challenge match is that the 17th at 5 p.m. Pacific. And so that's going to be a rematch. They're going to bump into each other in that.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers the format question. So I guess we can move on to the next one.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you handle this.
We're not even going to get into cue sticks and stuff. That's so individual preference. And if you're really into that much, come out. They'll show you what they've got. We're not going to be doing. We're going to be doing some green screen interviews and everything with the players.
Just so people know that someone, I don't know if it's a guy or girl, but someone on AZ Billiards would like more information on what type of cues the pros are using.
But they want a caliper scale and something. They want the real tight specs and everything.
I will admit it would be kind of a nicety, but it's just tough to work in.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. So we apologize. We probably will not do that this time, but hey, we do appreciate the feedback, and maybe in the future. So
the third one and what Ozzy goes through and reads what you guys post, and we try to respond as much as possible. But Bella Don't Cry asked, from the history of how CueSports International, which is CSI, that's us, will we be promoting other CueSports in the American public? Mostly pool. We're not getting into snooker right now. I'd love to, but we can't do everything. And snooker's a lost cause in this country, really. It's pretty tough action. I really like the 3-cushion billiards, but it's actually making some progress. So they've got the USBAs, which I've been a member of for 25 years or something. They've got 40, 50 tournaments, But we're sticking with pool, and more, unfortunately, we're going to 7-foot table events. We still do some 9s, but 9s are too tough. When I say too tough,
it's costly.
Costly. You have to move the tables. You only get 16 of them in a 53-foot truck, and that's $5,000 to bring them out here. So, and then they got to go back. So this year we only have 6 9-footers. Last year we had 23, just to put it in its perspective.
I will say, particularly the snooker championships that just took place in.
Oh, that was exciting, though.
That did spark some interest in this country.
Because of Chris Melling, Corey Deuel, and Alex Pagulayan.
Not only that, but even the O'Sullivan and
what's his face? Did you see their
it's
final
terrible.
numbers?
I can't remember the winners.
Did you see the final numbers on the viewership?
Yeah.
330 million people watched the
crazy.
snooker final.
But that did spark some interest in this country in snooker, and you know, I could see a day where snooker might be successful in this country. But the problem is the tables are so large. I mean, 9-foot pool tables are bad enough to carry around. What would you do with snooker tables?
Well, how would you? Yeah, a tournament you have 2 tables. You can't bring in 6, 8, 10 tables. No,
it would be ridiculous.
It just doesn't work.
So I don't think you'll see snooker really gain any widespread interest here until there are masses and masses of people that demand it.
Well, the snooker interest is going to Asia. In China is where it's really. And Barry Hearn is doing a hell of a job, which he always does. Different dynamics. We've had that discussion, but that's fine. Yep. And I think it's great that Chris Melling is doing so well. I mean, he's got the potential to actually become a snooker pro.
He's a fun guy to watch.
Yeah, he is. And Alex is going to shock some people. He needs to get familiarity a little bit more. Corey, I think,
don't know
is
that
the way
it'll
to
be
go.
a shock.
Well,
Alex being successful doing anything in pool, I don't think.
I know, but people just say, he'll never get
He could
there.
say he could announce tomorrow that he's going to be a trick shot artist.
Yeah, I got you. I have a lot of faith in him. Let's go down to San Jose Dick. I don't know if you know him.
I don't. You want me to do it?
Sure. He's from Phoenix. He's a good old boy. He used to be a real strong road player. One pocket was his specialty. He's
one pocket.
Yeah. You've heard of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will there be any flexibility on the number of invited players? This year, no. It's set in stone. We have 16. Hey, future years?
This is an experiment, and I'm amazed. We announced it. We kind of told people that there were going to be some changes, and we did it. Now Jay's doing it. It's kind of changed the whole complexion of the American, which I find a little amazing if you really want to know the truth. That everything just kind of turned a 90-degree corner. I'm not saying follow the leader, but things had to change, and I think it's a step in the right direction. Is it a permanent direction? Too early to tell.
Well, Mark, and there's been a lot of buzz out there about why are things tending to go to invitationals, and people were quick to jump on, well, the pros' behavior, and people don't want to work with these guys. There's some element to that, but I got to tell you, in my opinion, I think the larger driver is the cost to put these things on with all those tables. Look at the U.S. Open 9-ball right now. I mean, he's having to scale that thing back virtually in half because of the cost to have the event. You just can't crack it.
Yep.
You just cannot crack it.
And he gets a gate. We don't get a gate. Well, there's no gate. Other than we sell some VIP tickets. That's it.
Yep. It says, understand your position on shelving the opens for now, but could we possibly see the number of invitees increase, 24 or 32, for example? Yeah, you might. I mean, this year it's 16. We don't really know what we're going to do next year. We'll see what happens this year.
It also becomes a time issue, because if you want to play in the same time frame, you have to bring in more tables. I predict that if this format really works, we'll start having some qualifiers, and you can win a qualifier, which gets you to another qualifier, and you win that qualifier, you get in with the top or something. There's a process.
Yeah, you could morph it a million different ways, but
it's got to be manageable.
I do like, and I think you wanted to talk about some of the comments in this, and I'll just read it, and then we'll turn you loose.
Okay.
It says, with being only 16, doesn't that leave a lot of good players with no chance to compete? It looks to me as though inviting only the elite world beaters may work short term, but in a very few years that will almost guarantee a huge shortage of elite players. I know if I were a young improving player, I would be very discouraged by never getting to compete. Smaller tournaments and local tour stops offer a very poor way of climbing the ladder.
That's the biggest.
No,
that's the biggest drawback of a 16-man invitational. Number one, they're not 16 Americans. These are throughout the whole world. We only have 4 North Americans. But really, I'm calling a spade. If we want to just bring in 16 of the top Americans, the field just would not be very strong. There's not 16 strong Americans, so we can't do it that way. So this is a double-edged sword. I really feel badly for the shortstops. I mean, there's guys that have played in our event for Donnie Mills and Jeremy Sosai, and there's a ton of them that I'd love to, but we can't. There's no place for them. And not with this format. Now, if the American field was a little more depth, because I would like, in a lot of ways, I'd like to see this as an American event, because it makes it a little more manageable for us. I mean, we're jumping through a lot of international hoops. You know,
Tell me about it.
Yeah, but that's because we're doing 2 events too. You notice there's no one pocket this year. It just doesn't fit. We don't have enough time, and the one pocket would be a terribly slow game. But that's one of the things we'll really be discussing, and we'll be listening to everybody's comments, because this is not an answer. This what we're doing right now is not the complete answer. It's a step in the right direction. Let's get some feedback. Let's see how it shakes out. Because there's other people that say the same thing as San Jose did. Lou Figueroa was saying kind of the same thing, that in the long term it might be bad. Because what it'll do, it'll force the shortstops to start playing in all the local tournaments, which then they'll start knocking all those off, and it starts knocking. You know, it's just it's a spiral. But we're an amateur event, and one of the others. There's a question later on. Let's say, are we going to start doing pro tours? And we can't do everything. And in all honesty, I don't have enough time.
There's just one thing I wanted to say about that.
Yes, sir.
The whole point of, you know, what happens to the players, they don't have a chance to compete. Kind of the way I look at it is, if you look at what's going on, you know, Tunic is gone. You know, the days of those big open tournaments are gone, because Ozzy nailed it, because they cost too much.
They cost too much.
And nobody makes any money. The players don't make any money. The promoters are lucky if they don't lose too much.
Yeah, well, breaking even is a win.
Yeah.
You know,
so I mean, to me, I think the paradigm, looking at it like, oh well, these invitationals are bad because not lesser players, but maybe players who aren't elite yet don't get a chance to compete. The way I would look at it is, because of these invitationals, the guys who are elite do get a chance.
Yeah.
Because it's not one or the other. It's not like, well, we can do a 64 or 128-man open, or we can do a 16-man invitational. You know, it's not one or the other. It's, we can do this, or we're not going to do anything. So.
Yeah, and I actually think if we're successful in these invitational formats, it will very possibly help more future things like what we were doing with TAR, challenge matches. And you start doing a pecking order. Like I always, years ago, Joe Porper and I had a discussion. This is 30 years ago. Think boxing. You know, I mean, number 2 boxer challenges the number 1 boxer. Number 9 boxer challenges the number 4 boxer. And you can do the same thing with pool. So you still have the pecking order. You just have to get kind of officially ranked. And when you get to a certain point, then you have the invitationals. That's how you determine who they are.
Well, and what I'd like to see one day, and this is long term, you know, this year it's an invitational because you have to start somewhere. So based on a set criteria, we selected.
Yes, we did.
The players that we
like
wanted
him.
in our event.
That's right.
It would be really nice one day to get to a situation where, pick a number, but let's say it's 16, but all 16 of those players have to earn their way into the event rather than being invited.
Which is through a ladder, like similar to what TAR was doing with their challenge series. But unfortunately, the market wouldn't support TAR. So there's a fallacy there. Everybody says, well, that's what we want to see. Well, not very much. Not enough of you want to see it, or would still be doing TAR, you know?
Well, one other thing, too, with doing these invitationals, to me, one of the biggest problems with quote-unquote pro pool is there's no bar to entry. There was no bar to entry.
Correct.
And so now being a pro actually means something, because only top guys are going to get a shot at this money. So that adds value to being one of the best. It sucks if you're the number 35 guy, but now the guys who have put in the work and the effort and you know, have demonstrated their ability get rewarded for that, because they get an opportunity at money that you can't just come sign up and take this money. You know, so to me, that's another way to look at it.
Yeah, and Justin, I like how you put it. I think we were just standing around chatting a couple weeks ago, and someone said, well, what defines you as a pro player? And Justin says, what? I don't know. I guess if you have it on your Facebook information. If you have pro player on your Facebook profile, then you must be a pro player.
Keep in mind, too, and we don't mention it, we're not beating our chest about it, but we have 16 players coming. They're playing in 2 different events. We're adding $32,000 to 16 players.
Plus,
You know,
giving them a hotel room.
plus hotel rooms and all these other things, and so it's, but that's the value we have, because first of all, we knew who they were going to be. Now we can use them as a marketing tool to get people excited, either do the pay-per-view or come out and watch. Whereas before with the open tournaments, everybody wait till the last minute to sign up. They weren't any value to us, and that's why some of the other promoters, they put people's names on it that never had any intention of signing up, and then you lose faith in the whole game. So it's just so. Anyhow, enough of that. We're not going to get through this thing.
Celtic.
He's from Canada. I had a little. He's actually a pretty decent guy in a lot of ways, but he gets a little. He loves 8-ball in 4-inch pockets, but he's had some really good ideas over the years. We went sideways here on another thread here the other day, but does CSI see any way or have any plans to move pool from being a niche sport with a small isolated following and more into the mainstream public eye? Not my job. If I knew how to make it mainstream, I'd have done it 25 years ago. So would have Jay Halford and Barry Berman and everybody else. I don't know the answer. I don't know if there is an answer in today's market.
I know the answer, but I'm not telling you.
Well, that's good.
I'm waiting until you leave. And then
That's all right. Just keep thinking
we're
about it.
going
It'll
into
slide
one-
off that glossy head of yours.
I'm going to kill you with kindness.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, I think it's a good question.
It is, but there's no answer.
And really, I think what Celtic is really getting at in a broad sense is does CSI have plans to do anything bigger and better other than just putting on some tournaments every year? And I would like to think that the answer to that is yes. But how do you get from A to B to C to D? That's the real trick. Can we do it? Possibly.
Possible. It's a possible. It's hard
It's not
to
easy.
predict.
It's not easy, and I certainly would not want to sit up here and say, "Yep, we're doing it," and by 2016 we'll be there. It's just not that easy.
You don't get the desired results. You don't get the expected results. I mean, we're involved in doing some things like Joe Tucker's American Billiard Club with the American Rotation. It's a heck of a program for a good aspiring pool player. We just can't get the players involved. They just won't get into it. It's hard. You can lead them to the water, but you can't make them drink, and it's very frustrating because we're trying to create these opportunities, and if you can't force them to play. All you can do is, here's an opportunity. If you don't like it, well then guess what? The opportunity is liable to disappear, and it's hard to find the right answer without corporate sponsorship, obviously. So I don't know.
Which, well, corporate sponsorship is one thing, but
That you can
the whole
live or die by
industry,
that.
the whole industry, in my mind, has been run off of charity for years.
I totally agree.
I mean, a guy says, "I'm throwing $50,000 of my own money in the pot," and everybody says, "Oh, that was great." Well, it was generous. I'm not sure it was great because short term, yeah, you had a nice tournament. Long term,
No prayer.
it's not sustainable.
Oh,
So, and then you end
obviously.
up in the situation we are today,
Yep.
where there's just no events.
Yeah.
those
Well,
guys.
pool, the whole thing, even amateur. Everybody wants, where's the added money? Listen, show me the added money in poker tournaments, or probably golf tournaments, or tennis tournaments. Now, other than sponsorship, I mean, poker, the prize money's, they take 10, 15, 10, I heard 12% this year off of them, which is, they have a gob of expenses. So do we. When we put on a pool tournament,
Hey, Justin.
Yeah.
When you do your shooting competitions, how much money do you make?
Oh, yeah.
Local events, it's usually $20 to $30 to shoot.
That's your quote entry fee.
Yeah, and there's no payback. Nationals, the biggest prize in practical shooting, there's one event that pays out $50,000. One event, and then, but most of them, the way guys make money in that game is teaching, product endorsements, and consulting, things like that.
And Justin and I had a lot of discussions
And
about this.
that's literally a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Because they buy bullets. Bullets are renewable resource or non-renewable resource. You buy a pool cue, it lasts you 40 years.
Well, no, here's the thing, though.
The industry supports what Justin's talking about.
What with shooting, it's the same problem with pool. Nobody wants to watch it. People want to do it, but nobody wants to watch it. And the people that will watch it won't pay to watch it.
Yeah.
It's a participation sport.
Yeah. Exactly, and that's what I was getting ready to say. Pool right now, and hey, it doesn't have to stay this way forever, but right now it's a participative sport.
Yeah.
So when you start talking about added money, the added money has to come from money that the participants bring to the table.
Correct. Well,
And if you're not, let's take a small tournament out in Wichita, Kansas, for example. You have a 32-player tournament at a local pool room. I question why there should be added money. I mean, unless you're bringing something to the table, you're going out to play and have a good time and compete.
But the pool players complain if you charge green fees or anything else, and
Well-
they've got to get a different attitude. And they just, it's supposed to be, you know, it's kind of a screwy mess, and it will never improve
and
unless
if you
there's
have
some new brain site.
If you have a large pro tournament, for example, or hell, a small pro tournament, and those players attract fans who support the vendors,
Correct.
who support the tournament, then there's added money because those guys are
bringing,
things
yes.
to the
Yeah, but
table.
right now,
and
nobody
hey,
brings
it's not,
anything.
and it's not pros, amateurs too. Our BCA National Championships. You get thousands of pool players that want to come play, and they buy cues and they buy this, that from the vendors, and the vendors support the tournament
Sure.
with the, buying a booth and everything. There's added money, but just you don't get paid to show up, folks.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're a paid professional,
Right.
it just doesn't happen. If
work
you're an
that way.
amateur like me, you do it because you love to play pool and it's fun.
Pool is one
And
of
it's
those
an
games.
addictive game.
It's an addictive game. You can play it forever till you can't see, basically.
Yep.
Let's knock some of these other
I
ones
want
out.
to. I want to do Cleary's.
You want to do
I
Cleary?
like it.
All right. We've had a couple of comments on clothing. One was
Yeah, it's about dress
some were-
code.
Yeah. So,
We actually got.
this is the guy with the orange jumpsuit you're talking to. You understand?
yeah. I heard he was getting a Simonis suit.
It's
in the works.
Okay.
Dress code has come up. There have been some comments that people think that perhaps pool or some aspects of pool is suffering because people don't dress up real nice when they play. But this is a comment from Cleary on AZ Billiards. He said, a topic that I'd like to hear discussed is dress codes in pool. Some tournaments are more extreme than others. For instance, the World 14.1 or the Ultimate 10 Ball required people to wear a vest. A vest. Is this a wedding reception? Are you a butler? I personally don't find this to be comfortable attire to perform anything other than a best man speech, and don't find it to look any more professional than golf clothes. Those aren't my words, but I will say I agree, and this is personal preference. I'm speaking on behalf of Ozzie Reynolds, not CSI, which you can't do that anymore, can I?
You'll learn.
I agree with some of Cleary's points that, a suit, tie, tuxedo, vest, dress shoes with no soles. It's not very comfortable to play in. I do, however, think you can look very nice and still be comfortable. So I think there's a line there. I would not be an advocate of requiring a vest, personally. But I wouldn't want to see shorts and flip-flops either. So.
No, and a lot of the streamers they're doing an injustice. If you're on a stream, you're trying to promote the game, clean up your act. We've had some top players playing in some really ratty-looking clothes, and it's one of the things we're going to work on.
Yep.
I mean, Tar had the same issue with the bar box and everywhere we've gone. It's an ongoing issue, but streaming is in its infancy, and now it's been going on for like 8 years now, and it's starting to get some. It's time to start laying some laws down, I think. But the BCA Pool League has probably the strongest dress code, but there's nothing outrageously strong. And who is it? Luther Lasser. What are those guys? Are they Hammond Moscone or Luther Lasser and or Minnesota Fats? Something about wearing a tuxedo is like putting ketchup on ice cream or something. I mean, it's but whatever.
Yeah, that'd be rough. That would be rough playing in a tuxedo.
I do want to get into one little quick one. There was a question by Straight Pool IU. Can you talk a little bit about the new Darren Appleton instructional DVD that Justin and Cleary have been working on since the trailer was just released today? Also, I like listening to Mark and Ozzie, but I miss hearing Justin's opinions. Justin's opinionated? I didn't know that. From time to time, so it would be cool if we got to hear from him on a topic or two if he wants to talk. So Justin can give a little pitch from the pump his little Darren Appleton. I did watch the preview, and Darren, we were talking about Darren. Darren he strikes me as a contradiction. If I was to see him do whatever, I say, this guy is not going to be that good of a pool player. But he's so disciplined, and he works at his game. And that's, I think, the concept of the whole thing is going to be drills and this and that. And he spanked them all at that AccuStats make it happen. I mean, he says, "Here I am, guys." You know,
Well, Justin,
pretty impressive.
I'll turn you loose on your pitch in a minute, but I do want to say one thing about it. I came into the studio at the tail end of one of the days they were filming that, and all I can say is I can't wait to see the outtakes.
Yeah. Oh, the outtake. Okay. It wasn't like
hilarious.
Rossman, a one take, one outtake.
I'm gonna give away one bit, Justin. I hope you don't mind, but they did this take, and Darren broke an 8-ball rack, and he broke, and it was a horrible table, horrible 8-ball layout, and I bet he spent 10 minutes explaining all the problems and what he was going to do, and how maybe I can break it out this way, but if not, maybe I can do it that way, and then. As he was about to shoot the first shot, he got up and he looked at Justin. He said, "You want me to just break this again?" And Justin said, "Why don't you just tell me that from the beginning?"
But no, Justin's done some really. He and Cleary did the Shane Van Boning one, and there's some talent putting these things out.
Yeah, Cleary's doing most of the work. He just released finished the trailer today. He's about finished with the rest of it. It's going to be released July 1st on video on demand. We'll do DVDs, probably have We're going to try and have DVDs at Nationals. But the whole project for me was a lot of fun. Darren, we spent we shot for 2 days. And it was real interesting to me, and I think some of it will come across in the video, how he looks at things, and because he's completely different than Shane. Mm-hmm. And how he approaches the game, what he does, and to me that's kind of, they're not a set, but they complement one another, because to me they're two of the top guys in the game right now, and it allows you a real look into how they do things. Darren is, you called it, Mark, he's disciplined. That's the best word you could use to describe Darren, his whole game. And the other thing that we tried to get, and I think we captured it, was the biggest thing to me that Darren does better than anyone else in the world is he wins. And when I say that, when it gets down to the finals, when Darren gets to the finals, he's the favorite. I don't care who he's playing, because the guy has just demonstrated the last few years especially that when the pressure's on, he can get it done.
He's a bulldog.
And that's one of the big things we tried to get in the video, because it kind of goes back to a guy who taught me a lot about how to play pool and things like that, said you got to do 3 things. You got to learn how to make balls, then you got to learn how to play the game, and then you got to learn how to win. And there's lots of people that can do the first 2 very well, but learning how to win is what makes the difference between Mika Eminen, Shane, Darren Appleton, and
Me.
a lot of great players.
Mike Siegel. Mike Siegel was probably the most winningest. When he got to the finals, he wins like 90%. He just found another gear. He knew how to win.
It amazes me to see some of the guys like Darren who get under extreme pressure in some of these matches, and just
they hold up
no crack at all.
Yeah.
I mean, just rock solid.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yes, it is.
And you think about how you would react on the table in that situation. Oh, you'd be all to pieces.
Yeah,
I mean.
yeah, it's tough.
But and Clary's, once he did the Shane thing, he's doing this one, and it'll be out in July, and I'm looking forward to it.
Cool.
Predator came on board and supported us, and
they're
they've been
Darren's
great.
sponsor too. And Predator is it's our pro events are all being sponsored by Predator. So,
Yep.
In fact, I like to think we have our 3 primary sponsors are Predator, Obi, and Tiger.
For the challenge matches.
Cyclop, but that for the balls. I meant because they're all cube makers. As far as the arena and everything. Yeah, we have Cyclop balls and Diamond and Simonas and stuff too. But I think it's nice that they try to work together.
And one other thing I just want to mention is Predator is going to have some exclusive content that they're going to put out for free, that we shot specifically for them.
Okay.
Cool. And I'm not sure how they're going to distribute that yet. I'm guessing their website, but so people will be able to get some good information and some good tips from Predator for free.
Predator does a lot of good for the industry.
They are. And then the last question that was on here is from Banacane. Any plans for CSI to take the lead and start a pro tour? Not today. And we kind of touched on it earlier. and it seems like can some of the movers and shakers work together and make some things happen? It's pretty tough. Everybody's going different directions, and the economy and there's too many variables. It's going to need to shake out a little bit more.
I even tried, this is on a smaller scale, not on a large pro scale, but I even tried running the Action Pool Tour back east to work with other tour directors to do some bigger and better things, and it's just rife with tribalism.
Yeah.
They have their piece of the pie, and they're not letting it go, and they're not letting you in. You're not going to share it, and you're not even going to play on their playground. Now, that was on a regional tour level.
Sure.
You can speak better about how it is on a national level, but that's what I experienced so far.
Well, I like to think that I get along with almost anybody, but there's quite a few people in this industry I don't get along with. Just the distance is too far. People are afraid. You know, and you look at the car industry. You know, if they have a emissions control problem, you got Chevy and Ford sitting next to each other, fighting the common enemy, and you don't find that in pool, and it's very, very discouraging, because you do have the. I just don't agree with a lot of their policies. I mean, I can be pretty outspoken, and I'm not going to apologize for it.
Really?
Yeah. But I'll listen to anybody, even you. I mean, so.
I haven't said one mean thing about you.
Well, that's because you know.
Podcast.
Yeah, you know, I don't know what to tell you. Anyhow, when I was in Alaska, did I do any gold mining? Like almost never. I never found any gold. Any thoughts on trying to bring pool as a competitive sport to the college, high school level? That's great to try to do it. Again, how do you do it? The mechanics, fine, let's say we put a pool table into a high school. Well, then 6 months later, you got to have somebody recover it, or replace the stolen balls, or find the cue sticks for them. It's just, the support, it's just too tough. I do think that there's some real potential to do something in the boys and girls clubs. I still do. We're working on a project through Six Pocket that may help do that. And that's another game. In fact, at our nationals, this is going to be really strange. We got all our amateurs and everything, but we're going to have Six Pocket's going to have a booth. Joe Tucker with the American Rotation is going to have a booth. Cyclop and Diamond are going to be there. I'm forgetting one.
One.
Well, I mean, we've got vendors. I mean, all kinds of vendors. I meant ones that we're kind of helping to get there, because they're introducing. Last year we had Texas Bumps, and that didn't work out. But you know, it's just, you know, you have to support the industry. There's got to be some growth, and that's what we're trying to do.
Well, and if somebody can figure out a workable way to plant those seeds in high schools and colleges,
yep, we're all for it.
That would be probably the biggest kickstart to this industry, and it would take some time. It wouldn't happen in a year or two. But if you start planting those seeds in the youth of our country, that would be enormous.
Well, the future is the youth.
For the
just
future
obvious,
down the road. The problem is, how do you do it? Logistically, it's tough.
Yep.
I would love to be able to find a solution to that problem.
There's been some isolated one. You had, for some reason I'm not remembering the names, but there was one in Texas, and there was one up near Sacramento. Geez, and I met the guy, Bart Mahoney.
Yep.
Did it for like 20 years. But it's just an isolated little pocket, and so I don't know.
But I guess to answer the question, yeah, we've thought about it. It's on our mind. It's not something that we're probably going to go in tomorrow morning and start working on.
No.
But
Again,
I do think there's great potential if you can figure out how to do it.
Yeah, somebody's got to pay the bills. So anyhow, listen, we're out of time. We're running overtime. This was Podcast 6. We'll be doing another one in approximately 2 weeks.
Yep.
And then another one in 2 weeks, and then the last one will be right before the Nationals. Now, we may be moving. We're not sure where we're going to shoot the next ones, because the Tar Studio is going to be phasing out, but we'll figure out something.
We will be here.
And we're going to try to have somebody besides me here, maybe like Bill Stock or David Vandenberg.
I thought you were replacing me.
You know, that'd be too easy. Yeah.
All right, folks, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
And Mark, it was such a pleasure to do this podcast.
Oh, I know. It's with an upstanding, gentleman like me. I know. They said he has to be nicer to me because I'm older and not feeling well. Let's see.
You're feeling well.
As long as my tongue works, I'm
I went back and watched the last podcast, and I love what you said. You said, "Look, folks, I'm not keeling over dead here."
Yeah. One day I will. I promise you.
Out of everybody I've ever worked for that was named Mark, you're my favorite.
Ooh, wow. Mark's a
There you
lot. All right, listen, let's get out of here. Good night. Thank you very much.
Good night,
Justin,
folks.
thank you for all the superb work.
All right, guys, here we go.